Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live pop-up chat. I hope you have had a really good few days. It is Saturday the 8th of February 2020 and we have a few royal stories to go through. We're going to be talking about Princess Beatrice's official palace statement with regarding her wedding details. Also, there has been talk about Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie stepping up. We're going to be talking about that. We also have some Harry and Meghan latest updates and lots more to come. Of course, I will do the timestamps because I think that's worked for a lot of people. I think that helps people to catch up with the stories that they actually really want to hear about. Also, at the end of this video, I'm going to be talking about channel memberships. You may have seen a post I made earlier in the day, but we'll talk about that right at the end. So save any questions you've got about that for the end. Hello and welcome. I will try and find the chat room because, of course, it is always great to hear and see people live, which is why one of the reasons, the main reason why I love to do these live chats. So let me go straight to that as soon as it loads up. It's loading, it's coming. By the way, I'm wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara today, and a kimono, why not? But this is the beautiful Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. So there we go, that's what I'm wearing. I can see lots of people posting messages on the screen. Let's just have a little peek and see who is there. Hello, I can see lots of usual names popping up. By the way, if you're watching this video and are enjoying it at any point, do give it a big old thumbs up. It lets YouTube know that you enjoy the video and hopefully it pushes it out to more and more people. It does look very sparkly in the light, Lauren. Right, I'm going to move on and start with the first story. There we go. Which is Princess Beatrice's official royal family update. So this, earlier in the week, it must have got out. It must have got out to the press. Some reporter somewhere or some source may have leaked that Princess Beatrice was going to announce her wedding details, in particular the wedding date and the wedding venue. So that leaked. I did a story on that in a live chat and I did say that I would update you as soon as the official details came out. So I did. As soon as that happened, I made a video showing you the official palace statement. If you haven't read about it yet, I'll read it now. So this was published on the 7th of February 2020 and it says the wedding of Her Royal Highness Princess Beatrice of York and Mr. Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi will take place on Friday the 29th of May 2020. The couple became engaged in Italy in September of 2019. Her Majesty the Queen has kindly given permission for the ceremony to take place at the Chapel Royal St James's Palace. I know a few people suggested the Chapel Royal. I wasn't so sure at the time. I thought maybe with Beatrice having apartments there, maybe she might opt for somewhere different other than basically home. But it seems that home is where the heart is, and she has actually opted for St James's Palace and the Chapel Royal. Now this is an incredibly intimate venue. Nevertheless, it is still a royal wedding. It is still a full-on royal wedding. I've read people's comments. Some people have said, oh, it's not really a royal wedding if it's not at Westminster or St Paul's. No, this is, I would say, more of a royal wedding than Westminster. Maybe not Westminster, but certainly St Paul's. Because this has been where many royal weddings have taken place. It is a much more low-key venue. It's really intimate. Only close friends, close family will be in there. But the Queen has obviously given permission for, a wedding reception at the palace after for lots and lots more people. Going on, it says the Chapel Royal is the location for many royal weddings and christenings. You may have seen, if you remember the footage of William and Catherine and Harry, no, not Harry and Meghan, William and Catherine when they were with their 3 christenings, you saw some footage of them in like this, like a little tunnel with like an open-sided tunnel. That is part of the entrance to the Chapel Royal. It's a busy working chapel. The chapel holds regular services which are open to the general public, as well as hosting some unique royal services. Many royal weddings have taken place in the chapel, including that of Queen Victoria to Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha on the 10th of February 1840. In 1893, the then Duke of York and Princess Victoria Mary of Teck, later George V and Queen Mary, were married in the chapel. Now, obviously, we do not have any further wedding details yet. We are not expecting a carriage procession. There may be wedding photos. I would imagine perhaps there will be wedding photos released to mark the occasion, but it's at the moment it's not going to be televised. I don't think it will be televised. No carriage procession. So in that respect, it is going to be a very low-key event, but very personal, very private, very intimate. I actually quite like it. Maybe at some point I could do a video on the Chapel Royal, but if you Google it and you can see some of the photos, it's a really gorgeous, beautiful chapel. It's intimate, it's private. I think it's really, really lovely. And in fact, probably if I was choosing somewhere to have a royal wedding, I think the Chapel Royal would be absolutely perfect. So I wish Beatrice and Edo the happiest of days in May. Also, the weather should be really, really nice. It's after a series of garden parties. So it should be a very, very, very happy occasion, unless, of course, anything happens in the meantime which may darken the day. You all know what I'm referring to. But let's just hope that nothing is going to get on top of Beatrice for her day. I hope. Let's go and see what people are saying about that. Christine says St James's Palace was built by Henry the 8th in the 1530s. Rachel says hi everyone. Hello. Akelia says I don't think they will do it live like past royal weddings. Well, I mean, not all royal weddings are televised, but this is it's not going to be like Eugenie's wedding, let's put it that way. Lauren says, do we think Harry and Meghan will come home for the wedding? I would imagine there would be an invitation. I do not doubt Beatrice one moment. I think there would be an invitation. Whether or not they do come over, whether or not they're able to, I mean, they could have other engagements going on, private engagements, work for their own charities on that date. But anyway, I mean, we don't know. That is one thing that we will have to wait and see. I am sure they will try and attend if they're invited and if they are able to, of course. North Pebble says, will we see any pictures? Obviously, no announcements on that. We'll probably have to wait to the actual day before we know if we're going to get any pictures. But I would think so. I would think that there would be at least one official photograph released. And even if there's not an official one, I imagine that Sarah Ferguson, Sarah, Duchess of York, on her Instagram would probably post one. And Eugenie probably as well. They probably will not resist posting something. So I can imagine that either officially or unofficially, there will probably be some kind of photo released. No, I'm afraid no balcony kiss. I wouldn't imagine. No, no, I'm going to say tentatively, no. No balcony kiss. I would love to see one. I really would, but no. Akelia says, I wonder what her dress will look like. Again, do we know? I don't know. I'm thinking lace. I'm thinking a little bit of lace. A bit of a lacy moment going on. Yes, save the date. Christine Suckup says, save the date. Harry and Meghan, save the date. Sharona says, do you think we'll only get footage on the news? We may get the news crews, may get some kind of arrivals at the palace. We may see cars with famous faces going in, royal family members going in. That we may see. Obviously, the Chapel Royal is not attached to Buckingham Palace. It's attached to St James's Palace. So perhaps we may see a convoy. We may actually see the bride from the car. We may see a glimpse of something. We also don't know what tiara she might be borrowing from the Queen. I imagine that there will be a tiara, but we don't know which one. Will she be loaning her mother's, the York tiara? Will she be loaning a different one from the Queen? That, again, we do not know. Hopefully we will find out on the day. Margaret says, I wonder if she's having a more private wedding because she is tired of all the tabloid criticism. We don't know the real reasons, but there has been talk of a private, more low-key wedding even before anything with Prince Andrew kicked off this time round. So it was always expected that there was going to be a more low-key wedding. You can go back and you can check the articles from, I mean, pretty much there was wedding talk as soon as it was announced that Beatrice was with Edo. So if you go back to those early articles, there was already talk that any engagement, any wedding might be more low-key. So I think this is just something that Beatrice herself has always wanted. Diana says, will Beatrice's stepdaughter be a flower girl? Again, we don't know, but I mean, that sounds a pretty good prediction. I think most people could probably imagine that maybe she would be. Christine says, can't wait to see her dress. Me neither. I think that would be really, really good. Which kind of, well, the dress doesn't lead me on to the next story, but I'm going to carry on with Beatrice and Eugenie, because there has also been talk in the press recently saying that a palace source has said that that the Queen is actually wanting, expressly wanting Beatrice and Eugenie to step up in the wake of Harry and Meghan stepping down, Prince Andrew being forced to step down from royal duties. There is a little bit of a vacuum. It was always said, it's always been rumoured but never confirmed, that Prince Charles has wanted a more slimmed down monarchy when he becomes king. Like I said, that's never been confirmed by the palace. It's always been talk that that was what he wanted, although that has never been denied by the palace either. But in the wake of Harry and Meghan stepping down, Prince Andrew being forced to step down, whether it's permanent or temporary, there is a bit of a vacuum. And looking to the future, when we no longer have the Queen, when we no longer have her older cousins, or rather her cousins, there is already a slimmed down monarchy. And the one thing that the royal family and the British public do not want is charities and patronages going without a royal spokesperson. And there is a vacuum, and Beatrice and Eugenie are perfectly placed to be able to step up to that role. So, in all the articles that I've been reading, now it doesn't, of course, say who the source is, but it does say that there has been a source which is understood to have said that Her Majesty thinks that her granddaughters should attend more royal events and carry out more duties, and that's from a courtier. Again, we do not know which one, we do not know if it is true, but there is, whether the source is true or not, the reality is that there is actually a bit of a vacuum coming, and potentially a shortage of working royals to take on those patronages once the Queen is no longer able to carry out duties, or no longer here, or her cousins. So regardless or not of whether this is actually true, there is actually going to be a bit of a vacuum coming on. As I said, Prince Charles was previously thought to be opposed to Beatrice and Eugenie taking on official roles because it would conflict with his vision of a slimmed down monarchy. However, this source has revealed that he would now be content for them to step up. And yes, as I said, the royal family has already officially kind of become a little bit more slimmed down. The source continues, His Royal Highness is very fond of his nieces and would not stand in the way if they did want to carry out more duties. Now, that's me done with that article. But the last part of it does of course raise the question: do Beatrice and Eugenie want to take on more duties? I think yes. In the absence of any actual statement from them, I think they would. They already undertake a handful of engagements on behalf of the Queen, like attending garden parties and that kind of thing. These are only a handful, not enough to classify them as a working royal or even a part-time working royal. Just a little handful. The rest of the charities and patronages which they support are done privately, absolutely 100% privately off their own back. And I think that they would like the opportunity to do that on an official level. Also, we have, the Queen who might be offloading some of her charities and patronages over the coming years, and they would be ideally placed to take those on. So, like I've always said as well, they've always been in between like a rock and a hard place, I think, as the saying goes. And they're sort of damned if they do, damned if they don't with regards to earning money. They do, of course, have jobs. Eugenie is a Newcastle University graduate and has a full-time job as a director for a Mayfair art gallery house called Hauser and Wirth. Beatrice has a degree from Goldsmiths University of London and works in finance and consulting. Now, probably one of the questions that people have mostly been asking on Twitter and all the rest of it is how can Beatrice and Eugenie earn their own money and still retain the HRH and princess status? Well, this is because they are only doing one normal job. They are not going out there and trying to get media deals, sponsorship deals. They are obviously very, very wary of how that might seem with regards to being conflicting, to having a conflict of interest. The jobs that they have do not have a conflict of interest, and that is why they have been able to have low-key jobs, not on the world stage, not doing media deals, sponsorships, brand sponsorships, all that kind of thing. And that's why they have been able to do that, not being full-time working royals and still retaining the HRH, using the HRH and of course their princess statuses as well. A Buckingham Palace spokesperson was asked to comment and they declined on whether they want to take on more and more duties. But as I said, this might not be an immediate issue. It might not be something that needs addressing immediately, but this is something that will crop up long term. As the royal family slims down even more, there will need to be some strain taken, and I do think that Beatrice and Eugenie will be ideally placed to take that on. So let's see what people are saying about that. Let's go up a little bit. Countess Bavaria says that would be good if the girls could do more duties. There would be plenty of patronages available to them. Indeed, there would. M. Davies says I'd like to see more of Sophie and Edward. No, Andrew. Sophie and Edward, the Wessexes, do an awful lot already. Some people might not think that they do a lot of royal engagements, but they do. They are classed as full-time working royals, and if you look at the number of engagements they undertake in all of the kind of royal league tables, they do an incredible amount of royal duties. They are, I would say, pretty much almost at capacity anyway. They can take on some more royal duties. I think the reason why we don't see them as much is because the coverage of them with the media isn't always there. We don't always get the photos and video clips back from them. So, whereas the media in the past have been quite, intensely occupied with the Cambridges and the Sussexes, maybe we will see more of what Edward and Sophie already do. I don't think, like I say, I think they will take on some more duties, but they are already pretty much at capacity already. For Folk UK says, Or Forfolk, it says, they should become full-time working royals, Beatrice and Eugenie. And there we go. So, I am going to move on to the next story, which is the latest Harry and Meghan news. So, as we know, there is a transition period until the spring. So, the spring isn't that far off. We are already, into February, and we don't know exactly when the royal family are classing as spring for the transition period, but I would imagine probably May would be a good point for transition. So officially, Harry and Meghan are still members of the royal family. They are still using their HRHs, and they are still obviously the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. That won't change post transition. It just means that they won't be actually using those titles. So they have attended their first private engagement since deciding to step back as full-time working royals and begin this transition period. So this event was a JP Morgan event in Miami. Now, as far as I'm aware, and I haven't seen any photos or video clips from this event. If you have seen any, do let me know. Leave a comment after this video has finished and I will go and take a look. But I can't find any photos or video clips. But we do know from some people that have been there, some information has leaked about kind of what happened whilst they were at that event. They're described as being keynote speakers, as they made their first appearance together since the Queen granted their wish to step back as full-time working royals. Now, there's been a lot of talk about were they paid, were they not paid, and that's why I started this segment off by talking about the transition period. And I think it all hangs on the transition period because at the moment they are still using the HRH and their official royal titles. Under those kind of constraints, I would say that they probably were not paid for that event. It may transpire that they were, but I would probably work on a tentative basis and say that during the transition period they probably weren't paid. More than likely, they were probably building up a good rapport, a good relationship with that particular company, with JP Morgan for the future when they are free to actually earn their own money. However, it could transpire that the palace has agreed for them to earn money during the transition period. But whilst they are using their official titles, I would tentatively say that I'd err on the side of caution and say that perhaps there wasn't a personal fee, maybe a private donation to one of their charitable funds or trusts, maybe even a donation from that company to their new Sussex Royal Foundation. That would all seem, I suppose, fairly reasonable. Now, reports coming in from that event are saying that Prince Harry did speak a little bit about stepping back from royal duties. Again, we don't know the full extent of what he said. And if you have seen anything, do let me know. I haven't seen that. But we also know a source who was there did reveal to the media that he spoke about mental health issues, he spoke about his mother, and he spoke about 7 years of therapy. So he has been in 7 years of therapy trying to get to grips with the loss of his mother, which obviously so very, very deeply affected him when he was young. He lost his mother at a very formative age, and that has profoundly affected him throughout his life. And he's been trying to deal with that for the past 7 years with official therapy. I think he's chosen the correct route to go down. I think it was a very good decision to have come to terms that you actually need that help. We all know that with mental health issues, it's okay to not be okay, and to realise when you need the help. And of course, I'm sure now he's got the added benefit of having that help and support from his wife, Meghan. Let me go and see what people are saying, oh yes, I should just refer as well, in 2017 he did say that he sought counselling, but he didn't say how many years, but we do know now 7 years, so you can work out what that was in 2017. But he did say then that he shut down after the death of his mother and his emotions for at least 20 years following that tragic loss. Let me see what people are saying at the moment. Yes, JP Morgan and Chase is apparently the second biggest bank in the USA. Yeah, people have been speculating about how much they could have been paid. I've heard rumours from 250,000 up to 1.5 million. But like I say, I would say tentatively that any money that was collected may have been given or pledged to the new Sussex Royal Foundation when that does emerge. I would probably not say that they've kept it as personal money whilst in the transition period. That's the hinge point. The hinge point is that we are in a transition period. So unless they are actually going to reveal details themselves and say exactly what it was, I would tentatively say in the transition period, they probably wouldn't have collected any money for their personal gain. Maybe at a charitable level, donations could have been taken, but obviously post-transition period, they would be free to do this kind of engagement and keep any money for themselves. Leslie Ann Hector says, sorry Elliot, but you were wrong. They were paid 400,000, so get your story right. We have no proof they were paid 400,000, so we don't know. That is the story, so I have not got my story incorrect. I have said exactly what we think. There has been speculation between 250,000 and 1.5 million. There has been no official release on what they were paid. Unless I'm missing something, of course, do share that information if you know of any official information on that. And like I say, they are in this transition period and probably unlikely to have been able to have kept any money for themselves. Right, I am going to move on. Oh no, yes, well, we're going to stay with Harry and Meghan. But I'm going to move on to David Furnish. So David Furnish, of course, Elton John's partner. Now, he has spoken about Harry and Meghan with regards to their philanthropic work. There's a word. That is a word, isn't it? He's quoted as saying, I know how passionately they, Harry and Meghan, want to give back, says the filmmaker. And of course that kind of fits with obviously any donations at the moment going perhaps back to their Sussex Royal Foundation. So he actually spoke officially to the Press Association and he said that Harry and Meghan were at an interesting juncture of their life right now. And he said, I know how passionately they want to give back and they really feel that they have a platform and an awareness and an opportunity to really do great philanthropic work. And that is what he said. He went on to describe Harry and Meghan as like family to him and his husband, Sir Elton John. We have a lot in common, he said, with Harry and Meghan. And of course, Elton and Prince Harry launched the Men Star Coalition at the International AIDS Conference in Amsterdam. He said, we've raised money and given money to Centre Barley, his HIV/AIDS children's charity working in Lesotho. So there we go. That is what... oh, and also he says, and Meghan and he both share a great love of Africa. And so much of the work we do is based in Africa. So there we go. That is the official comments, of course, from David Furnish. Let's go back and see if people are talking about that. Oh, I have a donation from Kimberly Smith, $9.99. Thank you so much for your very kind donation. I'm going to give you a... Is this yellow or gold? Yellow or golden fan flap. Mwah. Thank you so much for your kind donation. Shrona says, isn't David Elton John's husband? Yes. Well, partner, husband, same kind of thing. You can say either. I'm sure lots of people refer to their wife or husband as also a partner. I would, probably. Catherine says, nice to continue in AIDS work like Diana. Yes, this is something that has been very, very close to his heart. And of course, Centre Barley means forget-me-not, Diana's favourite flower. Nancy, what was I wearing yesterday? Yesterday, I can't remember. I actually can't remember what I was wearing yesterday. Right. So, we are now going to move on. Let me get a timestamp. To Andrew and Sarah. So, we've been speaking a lot today about Princess Beatrice's wedding. And obviously, I think the last time I commented on Prince Andrew, I'm just sharing a link in the chat room because it shows the pictures. I spoke about whether Prince Andrew had diplomatic immunity or not. And it turns out he does not have diplomatic immunity from any charges. What he does have is this kind of weird protection if he's on a royal palace or grounds or in the presence of the Queen. He cannot be arrested within a royal palace, and that includes the grounds. So that includes Sandringham, Balmoral, Windsor Castle, Buckingham Palace, all of those homes, those official royal homes. And of course, Royal Lodge, his home, which sits on the Windsor estate, is part of that. So he was previously in Sandringham. He was seen in Sandringham with the Queen over previous weeks. He is now spotted back in Windsor. So he's travelled from there to Windsor. If you look at the photographs, I'm not going to read particularly the article, but obviously, lots of people speculating whether Andrew and Sarah are indeed a couple or not. They seem to spend a lot of time together, so I think they pretty much are. Sarah has alluded to the fact that they are a couple on many, many occasions in recent years. And if you go to her Instagram account, you will see lots of support that she is posting for her ex-husband. We see them in these photographs. Now, these are paparazzi photographs taken through the window of their Range Rover. Prince Andrew doesn't look particularly happy, and neither does Sarah in these photographs. Of course, that could just be the photographs that they've selected to sell to the newspapers. But in the photographs, long lens, grainy, but you can certainly see, I think, the toll that everything that's going on with Prince Andrew has taken on, in particular, him. I mean, I don't know, I'm looking through the window of the car. He appears to have aged slightly since all of this. And, it is what it is with regards to everything. I'm just scrolling down. You can see, doesn't look particularly happy. Maybe he knows the paparazzi are there. I don't know. But anyway, the article does talk about that they are obviously being busy with Beatrice's wedding plans. I know I saw a comment earlier, will Prince Andrew walk Sarah down the aisle? Again, I would probably imagine so. As father of the bride, I imagine he would take on that duty. But this is obviously a low-key wedding. Let me see what people are saying. Mercury Angel says, I seriously think that once Prince Philip is gone, Andrew and Sarah will get married again. Just my personal opinion, as he is the one that really doesn't care for Sarah. KT says he still doesn't get it though. He doesn't regret anything. And Kelly Harbour says, looks like she's looking down, reading something, not necessarily mad or sad. I mean, I did say that, that they could have been selective with the photographs. There could maybe have been other photographs where she was laughing and joking. We don't know. We only see the ones that have been published in the papers. And as we know, sometimes the papers do like to push a certain narrative. But there we go. But even discounting facial expressions, I think you can see the toll it's taken on Prince Andrew with everything that's going on. Sharona says, will we see the Queen at church tomorrow? I would hope so. But then again, I think she's probably moved back. Maybe we could see her in the car at Windsor. I imagine that Depends if she stayed on at Sandringham. If she stayed on at Sandringham post-accession day, usually she leaves pretty much the day after. But being in the weekend, she may actually have stayed on at Sandringham, and we may see her at church tomorrow for the last time at Sandringham until Christmas. Not Christmas. Why am I talking about Christmas? Until the next time she's at Sandringham. So, yeah, I imagine she'd probably still be there for now and then move back at the start of the week. So we may see church pictures. We may see church pictures. And that is all of my stories, my royal stories for now. Right, I do want to talk, and I'll put a timestamp on this. Okay, I'm going to put a timestamp on this because this is kind of its own section. So, I got an email. I'm just telling you a little bit behind the scenes information here. So if you don't want to hear about what I'm going to talk about now, you can log off, whatever. But I need to update you because I made a post on the community section today, which may have confused people. And I didn't intentionally mean to confuse anybody. I got an email this morning saying that my channel was now eligible for channel memberships. Now, I've known about channel memberships for a while now, and I don't know what criteria my channel had to meet to be able to put these channel memberships up, but whatever it is, I'm eligible now. And what it means is it's a little bit like a Patreon in a way, but it's done through YouTube. So, and this isn't just my channel, lots of other channels are eligible for this too. So I didn't really know the ins and outs on it. I still don't particularly know the ins and outs on it. I'm still trying to learn how to set this up, what's best for this channel, what's best for me, what's best for you, what's best for the whole channel. And you can basically have tiers. You can have different levels of membership. You can have 1 tier, 3 tiers, 5 tiers. And you can have things like, for example, when you're posting in a live chat, you can have different loyalty badges if you've been a member for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, different badges going up. I can post videos or content or like community posts just to members. A little bit, I suppose, like a Twitter stream or something like that. So I don't know how this is going to work, but I did post a message in the community section saying, would you prefer one flat level where everyone who's a member has access to the same stuff, or would you prefer it at different tiers? So I think the last time I checked the poll, it was running at roughly about 50-50, which doesn't kind of tell me too much. So if you do have an opinion about this, head on over to that poll and let me know what you would prefer. I think the easiest for me is probably 1 tier. But it doesn't affect the videos. I am still going to be putting out exactly the same videos that I do for free. I'm still going to carry on doing that. It just means that when people in the chat will have access to different emojis, different things like that. You'll get a little badge by your name, apparently. Like I say, I'm still trying to work out how it works, but I'm not going to make loads and loads and loads of videos that are only available to channel memberships. That's not going to happen. I'm still going to carry on doing it exactly as it is. It just means that basically anybody who wants to support the channel beyond just watching the videos can do so via YouTube. You don't have to go to Patreon or anything like that. So I'm still sussing all of this out, and I will probably put up more polls asking what you think, because I want to get this 100% right. So do let me know exactly what you think. Leave a comment in this video, go to the poll, 1 tier, multiple tiers, let me know what you think. So, if you've enjoyed this video, I'm going to go now, then please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and also do hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Also, please do remember to subscribe to the channel. So, from me in Shropshire, mwah, to you all, and goodbye.